Bitcoin is creating a higher low on the daily chart and is looking very bullish, and now we can see that Bitcoin is going to continue this bullish momentum to the top side. There are a lot of interesting formations for Bitcoin which I will discuss with you in this video. I will have a look at several charts because we can see a lot of interesting patterns unfolding. There's a lot of data for the Bitcoin and the Ethereum ETFs coming into the market, and we also see a lot of interesting news which I will discuss with you later in the video. I will also have a look at the two altcoins, Cardano and Solana, but about that later in the video. So you want to watch this video all the way to the end to be prepared what's coming next for Bitcoin. Don't forget to slap up that like button because it will help this channel a lot. And if you want to join my free Telegram group, just click the link in the description under this video. And with that being said, let's dive right into the charts. If we zoom all the way into the Bitcoin 1 hour time frame, we can see that we created a new all-time high around this level of $108,000. Then we saw a huge decline for Bitcoin and this bearish move was unfolding. We are seeing this huge bearish downtrend unfolding for Bitcoin. But now we can see that Bitcoin is trying to create a new higher high on the chart, and if we're going to create a new higher high, that would mean that we're going to see a shift of the downtrend into an uptrend. As we can see here, we can see a perfect downtrend is unfolding, but now Bitcoin tries to create a new uptrend, and if we can continue this bullish momentum to the top side, we can confirm the bullish momentum. So for now, Bitcoin is creating this higher high after this previous high, so we now also want to see a higher low play for Bitcoin after this low. So if Bitcoin can continue this bullish uptrend, we could potentially see a lot of bullish momentum in the coming days and weeks. So this is looking very bullish, but of course we want to gain this previous high on the chart of around the $100,000, and then we can really confirm the bullish momentum. And if we then zoom out to the 4 hour time frame, we can see that Bitcoin broke up beautifully of this huge resistance trend line, which we saw a lot of touch points. We saw a lot of touch points here as resistance, and on the lower side we saw a lot of touch points on this horizontal support level. And in my latest video I have been discussing this beautiful trade with you, and I was waiting for this consolidation to finally break out because the price of Bitcoin was getting squeezed into this apex. We finally saw a breakout, we confirmed the breakout, and then we waited for a retest of the previous resistance to turn it into support, and as we can see here, we created a perfect bullish retest, and from this retest you could have entered the market in a long, because as I'm always saying, you have to wait for a retest of the resistance to turn it into support, and from this bullish retest you could have made more than a 5% increase on Bitcoin, and especially when you are leverage trading, this could have been a very beautiful trade to make. So this is looking very bullish for Bitcoin, and as I said, the breakout target of this formation will be confluent with the top side of the formation, and that will also be confluent with the previous all-time high of $108,000. So this could be the start for Bitcoin, where we could see the start of the bullish momentum to the top side. And let's see if we can come back to this previous 180,000 all-time high, because that would be very bullish. And of course this horizontal support held once again very strong, and at this green box of accumulation I've been buying more Bitcoin every time we touch this. So you could have bought more Bitcoin at these horizontal prices just like I told you, and of course you don't have to copy me, but you always can do your own due diligence, and then you can see that we broke this huge resistance area to the top side, we retested it, and now we are seeing a beautiful upside momentum, and we are separating ourselves from this huge support area. And if we have a look at the Bitcoin ETFs, we can see that yesterday we saw a very bearish day actually. I think that BlackRock sold its most Bitcoin in one day ever, and we saw an outflow of BlackRock for 332 million. So this is insane of course, and this is looking very bearish. But of course BlackRock is the biggest ETF for Bitcoin, and they hold almost 37 billion total Bitcoin. So it's not very rare that they're selling a little bit of their portion. But of course yesterday we saw a total outflow of $247.8 million, so this was having a little bit of a bearish effect, and now we're coming again below the $35 billion in total cumulative inflow. And as we can see here at this graph of the total cumulative inflow, we can see a little bit of a decline for Bitcoin. So let's see if we can continue the bullish momentum just like we saw in the last year. And if we then have a look at the Ethereum ETFs, we can see that yesterday was also a little bit of a bearish day. We saw an outflow of $77.5 million in the total, and we can see that not a lot of Ethereum ETFs were very interested yesterday, but only the Bitwise and the Grayscale ETF were selling their portion. So also the Ethereum ETF was having a little bit of a bearish day. So let's see what 2025 can bring us for the Bitcoin and the Ethereum ETF. And also in my latest videos, I shared my limit buy orders for Bitcoin. And at these white lines, I've placed my limit orders for Bitcoin to buy more for the long term. And every time we go a little bit lower, I'm going to buy more Bitcoin every time we touch these lines. But of course, this line was touched and I reached my limit order for Bitcoin. And from this line where we saw a beautiful retest, we saw support coming into the market, we made almost a 5% profit again. So this is looking very bullish, but of course, as we can see on the daily time frame, we are still in a little bit of a downtrend. So we could also see that we're going to break below the support area. And if we do, I think we will come back to these next levels and then I will buy more Bitcoin for the long term. So my limit buy orders are set, and if we go a little bit lower, I'm just going to buy for the long term, because I think eventually we will see levels around the $200,000 in the coming years for Bitcoin, and of course it could also happen this year. So buying below the $100,000 is still very cheap in my opinion. Of course, don't just copy me, always do your own due diligence, and everything I say in this video is not financial advice. So every time we go lower, you want to just buy more Bitcoin for the long term, because eventually I think we will see much higher prices. And if we have another look at the 4-hour time frame, we can see that Bitcoin is also in this broadening wedge formation. On the top side, we can see 3 touch points as resistance, and on the lower side, we can see this huge, beautiful support area coming into play. First, this horizontal level acted as resistance, but then we broke it, and then we saw multiple touch points here as support. And every time we touched the support area, we made a beautiful bounce to the top side. So earlier this week, we saw a beautiful move from this level. We see a separation of this level, but of course, we want to gain this previous high, and that we're going to see a higher high and higher low, and then we can really confirm the bullish uptrend to the top side. But also on this huge broadening wedge, we can see on the top side a lot of resistance coming into the market. So let's see if Bitcoin can come back to this resistance and eventually break it to the top side. And that will be very bullish, of course. So this area is a really trade-free area for Bitcoin. And the previous all-time high is the high to beat. So let's see if we can see this high of $180,000 getting beat in the coming weeks. And let me know in the comments, how fast do you think Bitcoin can really create a new all-time high in 2025? Personally, I think we will see it in this month, so January 2025. And if we have a look at the price of Bitcoin on New Year's Day, we can see a very rapidly increase in the last years. And in 2025, we are now seeing a level of $93.5 thousand. So this is insane, of course. And let me know in the comments what you think about 2026. Are we finally going to see that $100,000 for the Bitcoin price on New Year's Day? Or do you think that we will just see a lower price than the current price? So let me know in the comments, and let me know what you think about the first day of the year for 2026. Personally, I think we will see prices above the $150,000. And we also have Turkey's leading bank, Garanti BBVA, to launch Bitcoin and crypto trading for 27 million customers. So this is, of course, very bullish. A lot of people will be exposed to crypto and also to Bitcoin, of course. And a lot of people want to invest in Bitcoin, but they just don't know how to do it. So through their bank in Turkey, they are now exposed to Bitcoin and crypto. So this is looking very bullish for the market. And also, according to CNBC, Bitcoin is going to hit $225,000 this year in significant bull market as institutional adoption grows due to regulatory clarity. So they think that Bitcoin is going to hit levels around the $225,000 this year. So this, of course, is very bullish, and we will see more than a 100% increase for Bitcoin in this year. So I think this could be very true. And of course, if this happens, we will see a very bullish year of 2025. And zooming out to the daily time frame, we can finally see that Bitcoin is going to create this higher low play, and we made this previous low, and now we're seeing this higher low play. So Bitcoin is still in a bullish uptrend, but of course we can also see a bearish move, and that means that we're going to create a lower low. And if this happens, we have to be prepared for a little bit of more downside in the coming days and weeks. But of course, we are now seeing still Bitcoin is going to create this higher low play, so this is looking very good. We want to see that Bitcoin is going to create a higher high play. And then, of course, we are also going to make a new all-time high. So let's see if Bitcoin can create more topside from here, because we don't want to see that the bearish downtrend is going to extend and that we eventually have to aim for lower prices. So this could be the start of the next impulse for Bitcoin, as we are now making this higher low play, and we could potentially see a new higher high and also a new all-time high in the coming weeks. And also the stock market is looking very bullish in 2024. Overall, we saw a 7.11 trillion was added to the US stock market in 2024. So 2024 was a very bullish year for stocks, but also of course for crypto. And if we have a look at the US stock market, and this chart is the S&P 500, we can see that this chart is up only in the last weeks. And here we saw the first week of January, and after that we saw a very bullish uptrend. So this is looking very bullish. But of course, if we zoom out to the monthly time frame, we can see that this chart is going exponential. So every time you invested in some places, you are always into profit because it's up only. And this is also due to the inflation and the decreasing value of the dollar and the euro. So I'm also invested in stocks, and I'm just DCAing my portfolio. And at a certain date of every month, I'm just investing blindly into the S&P 500. So every time I invest, I will just continue to increase my portfolio, because overall I think this chart will go up only, and we will even go more exponential in the coming years. So of course you want to be exposed to crypto, but of course you can also expose your portfolio to maybe gold and stocks, and maybe you can also stay a little bit of the cash. But as I'm always saying, I'm also invested in stocks, because I think this chart will go up only. And I think a lot of more beautiful years and months will come. And the first altcoin I want to have a look at is Solana. We can see that Solana was in this huge consolidation formation for the last months, and we finally saw a break of this huge price compression because the price of Solana was getting squeezed into its apex. We saw multiple touch points here on the top side as resistance, and also on the lower side we can see a lot of touch points as support. Finally we broke out bullish. Then we created a new all-time high, which was confluent with the previous all-time high. We saw this resistance was coming into the market. And after this bullish break to the top side, we are now seeing a bullish retest. And as I'm always saying, you have to wait for a bullish retest to test the previous resistance as support. And from here, you can enter the market in a long. And if you did, and you created this trade on this bullish retest, you could have already made an almost 18 or 19% increase on this trade. So this could have been a very significant trade to make, and I shared this trade on my socials and in my latest video for Solana. So of course, if we zoom out a little bit to the weekly time frame, we can see that Solana created a new all-time high, but this all-time high was a little bit higher than the previous all-time high. So this huge resistance area is coming into play, and let's see if Solana can finally beat this resistance, maybe retest the resistance and the previous all-time high as support, and from there we can maybe see a continuation of the bullish uptrend. So this could be a very bullish scenario for Solana in the coming weeks. But of course we could also see that Solana is going a little bit lower, and then we have to aim for lower prices. But I think we will see just a continuation of the bullish uptrend, because the trend is still up, and after this bullish retest we are now seeing a beautiful separation of this support area. So I think we will see an attempt to break the previous all-time high in the coming weeks for Solana. And the next altcoin I want to discuss with you is Cardano. We can see that Cardano ran into a big resistance on the horizontal time frame, and even if we're going to zoom out on the weekly time frame, we can see that Cardano ran into a horizontal resistance, and this horizontal resistance was broken to the top side, as we can see here. We saw a beautiful move to the top side from the beginning of November. We created a lot of bullish momentum. We broke several resistance areas, but eventually we saw that this huge horizontal resistance was a little bit too strong for Cardano. So we saw a beautiful rejection. Then we came to lower levels, and now we are retesting this previous resistance as support, and this is looking very bullish. And in my latest video about Cardano, I said that I'm buying every time we go lower, and at these green boxes of accumulations my buy orders were ready. So from this green box of accumulation, you could have already made a significant increase for Cardano of almost 34%. And we're now seeing that Cardano is running into this huge resistance area. So let's see if we can break it to the top side, maybe retest it as support, and then see more topside continuation, because the overall trend for Cardano is now up. So let's see if Cardano can create more bullish momentum to the top side after this higher low play, because this could be very bullish, and this higher high needs to be broken to the top side in order to become a little bit more bullish. So we are now trading above the $1. So this is looking very bullish, because after this huge bear market lows of almost 30 cents, we are now seeing a beautiful continuation of the bullish price action for Cardano. And this is all we have been waiting for. So let me know in the comments, do you still hold Cardano in portfolio? And what do you think about the price prediction for Cardano in 2025? And I also want to have a quick look at the fear and greed index for Bitcoin. We can see that we are now still in greed, but last month we were in extreme greed, and even 2 months ago we saw levels around the 90. So this is looking a little bit more good, because we're now seeing levels of greed and not extreme greed. And we could also go back to levels to neutral if Bitcoin is going to see a little bit of a decline in the coming weeks. But I think that this levels of greed is very bullish, especially when we are in a bull market. And I think when the prices really go exponential, we are going to see levels above the 90 in this index. And that, of course, would be maybe an indicator to sell a little bit of your Bitcoin. So please like the video if you think it was useful. You can join my free Telegram group by just clicking the link in the description under this video. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.